Good evening, Second Baptist. Thank you so much for opening your homes to us and allowing us to come in. Thank you so much for that. Sister Daisy and I are really excited about tonight. We've got some great guests coming on to talk about school openings. All of these are members of Second Baptist, so we've gathered the administrators from Second to talk to Second about some of your concerns about coming, your kids going to school, and even some of the teachers who are going back to work as well, like my wife is going back to work, and my daughter and my daughters are going back to work, as well as my son. So we know you got a lot of concerns. We have a very informative session tonight, and we're grateful to have all of these administrators who will be joining us in just a minute. And so get your watch parties going. It's very important. It's going to be very informative, as I said, and so you need to get as many people watching today as you possibly can. If you got questions, you can. We're going to try to answer your questions as quickly as we possibly can, as many as we can, and we've got enough administrators to try to do that tonight. But first of all, let me thank you so much for tuning in. Again, thank you so much for the support the Second Baptist is giving, not only through watching and through the services, but also through your financial support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, we were looking forward today to be sharing with you at Surf Stadium, and we got rained out, but we've been rescheduled for next Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. It's important that as many of you who can come, if you're comfortable coming, we'll see you next Sunday at Surf Stadium. But come on in. We've got a lot of guests today, and we want to welcome all of those guests today. We have with us administrators from Second. We've got Sister Andrea with us today. She's at
Pleasantville Middle School.
Pleasantville
High School.
Pleasantville High School. We got Dr. LaQuetta Smalls, the principal at Atlantic City High School. We've got Mr. Knox, who is at New York Avenue. We've got the infamous, famous, however, Reverend Jody Burroughs. She's at MLK, and we have Nicole, who is at Sovereign, and we have Miss Teresa McGaney Guy, who is at what school is that?
North Main Street.
And we have Dr. Chapman, who is at the middle school of Pleasantville. And so we want to welcome all of you to tonight, and we've got a lot of concerns, a lot of questions, and we know that you are doing a great job at preparing for this new school year. And what a school year this is going to be. It's an unprecedented school year, and we want to talk a little bit about you know, what's going on, what we got planned for the school year, you know, the safety protocols, all of that kind of good stuff that wondering minds want to know, inquisitive minds want to know, and rightly so. You know, we have it, our children going back, my grandkids are going back, my family's going back to school, and all of you who I love so greatly, y'all are going back to school as well. And so we want to hear from you. And first of all, I already introduced you, but will y'all just go down again and just tell us, you know, where you are, what school, you know, and so they can hear it from you. Everybody know you, but just do that for us. We'll start at the top. My top, if everybody's screen is Sister Atkins.
Good evening, church family. I'm Andrea Turner. I'm the acting principal at Pleasantville High School. And I've been in Pleasantville for 32 years. So I'm at a point where I'm looking forward to retirement.
Oh, yeah. Please forgive me, Sister you know, I keep saying Atkins, but you know Atkins how that is, you know. Atkins
it's fine.
Yeah, I apologize for that. You know.
No problem.
All right, Ms. Dr. Smalls.
Good evening, everyone in Second Baptist listening and watching audience. My name is Dr. Small, principal of Atlantic City High School, and this is my 21st year in education, 17 years in Atlantic City School District, and this is my 14th year as an administrator.
Wow.
Wonderful. Wow.
Brother Knox?
Hello, everyone. I'm hailing from New York Avenue School. I've been in District 24 years. This is my 24th year. I'm with you, Miss Atkins. Retirement, I see in my view at some point. I've been the administrator at New York Avenue for the last 4.5 years, and we're just continuing to do what we need to do for children.
Reverend Burroughs.
Hi, everyone. I'm the principal of Dr. Martin Luther King School Complex as well as Venice Park School. It's my 27th year in the education, my 10th year uh, at MLK, and I'm taking it one day at a time, and just putting one foot in front of the other and looking to hear from God.
Amen.
Amen.
Nicole, Miss Williams.
Yes, good evening, Second Baptist family. I am Nicole Williams, Vice Principal at Sovereign Avenue School. I'm going into my 16th year in education and my 8th year in Atlantic City with Atlantic City Public Schools. And this is also my first year, very interesting year as an administrator at Sovereign Avenue.
Oh, congratulations!
Yes.
Congratulations!
Yes.
This is it's going to be a real challenge, especially for your first year. You're getting baptized really well this year. And
Yes, I
we
am.
have
Yes, I am.
Mrs. Teresa McGaney Guy.
Good evening. Hello, I'm Teresa McGaney Guy, principal at North Main Street School, and this is my 24th year in education, 8 years at North Main Street School, and all 24 years have been served in a community that I love so much, Pleasantville.
All right, that's the way you say it. That's the way you do it. All right, Dr. Chapman.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Chapman, and I am the assistant principal, one of the assistant principals at the middle school of Pleasantville. This is my 23rd year in education. It went by really, really fast. And it is my 8th year as an administrator, and I'm just honored to be in the presence of such wonderful administrators who are also part of the Second Baptist Church family.
Great. So now the question, what are you guys doing and preparing for the return of the students next month? And I guess I'll stop back at the top with Andrea Atkins Turner.
Okay, so in Pleasantville, we are looking for a hybrid schedule. In the hybrid schedule, we would have two cohorts A and B. They would come to school 2 days, and the third day, Wednesday, would be reserved for complete virtual instruction for everyone. The second cohort would come on Thursday and Friday. As it stands right now, the teachers will be instructing from their classroom with no students. All the students will be instructed virtually. Again, as with everything else, this is most certainly subject to change depending on whatever directives we have from the governor's office. But in Pleasantville, we are definitely looking forward to a hybrid schedule. And I will say, at least at the high school, I have received letters from parents who are requesting a total virtual instructions for their students. So they have decided to take the virtual option. And we're looking at how we're going to service those students.
Okay. Can you explain what a cohort is and how many students in a cohort?
Okay, I'm only looking at it from the high school's perspective.
Right.
So I'm proposing that cohort A is just freshmen and sophomores who will be in school on a Monday and Tuesday. And then cohort B would be sophomores and juniors. And most certainly that would look different at the middle school and the elementary school.
Okay. Dr. Smalls?
Good evening again. First, I just would like to acknowledge our superintendent, Barry Caldwell, who shared our reopening plan on the district's website last week. And in Atlantic City, our plan is to institute the hybrid schedule, in which we would also have two cohorts, a cohort A and a cohort B. And for the high school, what that means is the roster will be split alphabetically. So we'll have about 900 students in each cohort who will attend school. Cohort A, for example, would attend school on Mondays and Wednesdays. Cohort B would attend school on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And all students will receive remote instruction on Friday.
Okay, so your cohort is alphabetically in at the high school in Atlantic City, and the cohort in Pleasantville, it is by class.
For the high school.
That's for the high school. Okay. All
Yes.
right. Very good. Oh, it's going to be hard to keep up with all this. So so we're trying. Brother Knox.
Yes, we also are going to have A and B cohort on a hybrid schedule. At the elementary level, what we've done is we kind of looked at it a little differently because we have so many programs in Atlantic City, several programs, special ed programs that go to other schools. We have different siblings in the school that, that don't have the same last name. So we're dealing with some challenges with that. But for the most part, we're basically taking classrooms and splitting them in half. And based on that is how we're going to offer the instruction. And the A and B cohort platform, where children come to school. One A will be Monday and Wednesdays, and I believe B will be Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then Friday will be total virtual.
Okay. So how do you say you divided your cohort? You divided it how?
We divided it by classrooms. Okay. For instance, I have I have 3 third grade classes. In each class, let's say if I have 24 students in each class, we split them up into 12 and 12, okay? And in consideration, and a variable that plays into how we split them up are their siblings in the school, so we can make sure all the siblings are together.
Okay, gotcha.
Challenge.
Reverend Burrows?
That is one of the things that we try to do to help parents who are, some of whom are entering the workforce again, to try to organize the cohorts or the groups, let's call them, so that family members were in the same group. And we just went a little step further, and I think a lot of people did. We looked at also possibly not just siblings, but sometimes cousins who come to school together. So if grandma brings all the cousins to school, we kind of try to keep those cousins on the same day, just to help families out as well.
Well, how do you figure all of that out?
I lean on Share.
You-
Because it takes more than just the administrator. It takes the staff members who are familiar with, who comes to school together, referring to the nurse, because the nurse and the guidance counselors know relationships that perhaps I'm not aware of, because some of those relationships are new to the school. Preschool students, I didn't really get a chance to get to know.
Okay.
But, through other members of the staff, we've tried to work together with our leadership teams and just with the other people in the building to make that happen.
Okay, I gotta ask a question and I have to do it in real time because it'll get lost on my phone. Roxana Perez Nieves asks, will external partner programs be allowed to visit and facilitate workshops in person?
I'll answer no. At this time, we're not allowed to we have to minimize the traffic into the building. So we cannot allow outside entities to come in, even parents. Like, that's another challenge. When we have our pre-K babies, our kindergarten babies who want to walk their children into school on the first couple weeks of school, it's not going to be able to happen due, to the pandemic. So even our parent resource centers, they're in most of our schools, they're thriving. Parents come in and out of the building and are welcome in the building, but at this time, unfortunately, due to the circumstances, we're not allowed to have anyone come in.
Okay, is that same in Pleasantville as well?
May I just, and I know Roxana, and I think what she is referring to, she is part of Stockton University, and they have a program with us that addresses making sure that our students have the resources to get to college. So I'm not sure that, and we're definitely going to partner with them this year, whether that will be virtually or what have you. They may not come in the building physically as they've done in the past to meet with students, but most certainly we value that partnership, and we're most certainly looking forward to having it for our students this year. So we're definitely going to try and make that work in Pleasantville.
Okay,
I
very
can
good.
speak on that a little more. North Main partners with Stockton very
Yeah.
closely, and in the spring, we were able to have those students complete their certifications through North Main. They were able to interact with us virtually, and as of this date, I have assigned about 32 students to work with the teachers within North Main to complete any type of work that they need to do. So that is going to be ongoing virtually.
Oh, excellent.
So that partnership will continue.
Nicole, we're going to start back with you. What kind of schedule are you going to have at Sovereign?
So, just as my colleagues were saying, we have the Monday, Wednesday A group, Tuesday, Thursday B group, Friday everyone remote, and the idea behind that is so that the custodians can get into the buildings and really clean, even though they're going to be cleaning thoroughly each day after students leave, but that all remote day is for purposes of cleaning and really tidying up and getting ready for the next week. Also, like my colleagues were saying, the siblings matchup, it's a challenging thing, and I know, even though we matched up some students right now the best that we could, it might be, some things that we missed that we will hopefully try to rectify before we, open up in September. So, that is just a key point, and then just trying to figure out everything and work together to come up with plans to make sure that students are receiving everything that they need, but are also given, parents are given the option, if they wanna stay home, full remote, or, come back to the building.
Okay. We're going to get you, Ms. McGaney Guy, and then Dr. Chapman, and then we got more questions from the congregation.
Basically, everyone went over the different cohorts. We're following the same type of schedule, but this week at North Main, we're going to take a little deeper dive into which cohorts to match up siblings. We're going to call parents because some of them completed the survey and some parents did not. So I have a very small school, so I'm able to do things a little differently. So the homeroom teachers are gonna call the parents to make sure we're matching up siblings, we're matching up all relatives from each school to make sure the cohort matches the family needs.
Okay. Dr. Chapman?
Um,
You gotta unmute yourself.
no, they can hear me.
Okay.
So, at the middle school, we're following the hybrid schedule as well, and it is two cohorts, with the third one doing all virtual learning. Those are for those parents and families who opt out of coming back into the building for whatever reason. The the first group would be on Monday and Tuesday, and then the second group will come in on Thursday and Friday. The cohorts are split at this time by alphabet. So the first half of the alphabet will come on Monday and Tuesday, and that's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, respectively. Same thing on Thursday and Friday. It'll be 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, second half of the alphabet, respectively. But keep in mind, these things are subject to change between now and school opening, just depending on what happens with the directives from our governor as well as the county and our superintendent.
Okay. Indra Lynn asked, Indra, my daughter, Owens asked, what's the option for staff or faculty who choose to fully homeschool?
So in Atlantic City, again, that's a major concern, I'm sure in Pleasantville as well. But the superintendent also surveyed the staff, and if there are staff members who are interested in homeschooling, there are procedures which they have to follow. It's requested that a letter is sent to the building principal, in which we would share that information with the Human Resources Department as well as the superintendent to ensure that the building classrooms are fully staffed. But that's something that we are encouraging our colleagues and staff members in each building to notify us so that we can make the proper preparations.
Now, can you, 'cause I may not be understanding the question. So, is the question, since you answered that, Dr. Small, can you clarify that? Because I'm not sure what that question is, and so I'm not sure what the answer is.
So there may be some staff members in Atlantic City as well as Pleasantville who choose not to return because of underlying health conditions. So of course they're concerned if they have the option to return or to work fully remotely. Is that the, I'm assuming that was the question that she was asking?
Yes.
Okay, so it's, okay, go ahead, now I got a better understanding.
Right, so if a staff member is not completely comfortable in returning because of health issues, we're just asking that they notify the building administrator, and of course, we'll discuss that matter with the superintendent as well as the Human Resource Department to ensure that the staff does not have to worry about his or her job over the health issues.
So that is an option for a staff member, a teacher, to actually do all their teaching virtually from home because of their fear of health issues.
Well, as the governor mentioned, as well as the superintendent, we cannot penalize a staff member if they are concerned. I mean, this is a pandemic, and we do expect some staff members to, have a fear of returning because of underlying issues, and the district is going to do its best to try to accommodate those staff members who have those issues.
Okay, so with that being said, so for clarity, so are you saying then that teachers will not have to use their sick time if they plan to go out as a result of having pre-existing conditions and they prefer to do online teaching as opposed to coming into the building?
Well, I'm not saying that. I cannot give you a definite answer. It would have been a good idea to have the director.
Human resources.
So maybe we have them on next time.
Exactly.
What we're asking is that the staff members who have those concerns bring their, issues to the building administrator. And then, of course, we will contact the district staff to ensure that they're not penalized for their underlying health issues.
Is that the same in Pleasantville as well?
It is, and that's based on directives from the state. There are different types of temporary disability leaves that are open to staff members who choose that option, in addition to the regular family leave. So there are two other options they have. But again, they need to put it in writing, most certainly to the building principal as well as human resources. And the intent is not to penalize staff members who have underlying illnesses, as well as those who have to take care of someone suffering from COVID-related issues.
Okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead, you go ahead.
We've got a question from T. Darrell Bettis. What is being done to encourage social emotional learning for the kids in such school settings as this?
And may I say that, well, in Pleasantville, at our convocation, which will be done virtually, we have Michael McKnight, who is an expert in that area. He is going to come and do a presentation to the entire staff, and it's our intention to follow up in our buildings throughout the year.
Okay.
In Atlantic City, we have a mindfulness program that this summer, we infused it within the curriculum for summer school. So students were given different mindfulness activities. And I know that's something at Sovereign Avenue School, and I'm sure my other schools, there will be continue with social emotional support. We have, what's the program, Mr. Knox, at New York Avenue that you guys had, and at Pennsylvania Avenue that helped with that?
He has them mute.
Okay, you're muted. Okay. Go ahead.
Leader in the program.
Leader in Me program, which not only supports the students, but the staff as well.
Okay, we have a question from K.M. Weaver. Would partnerships with local churches be sought to offer some services, facilities, and tutoring within social distancing guidelines, of course, for those who opt for virtual learning, when parents, guardians have to work? Anybody?
I'm not aware of anything.
Question again? Could you state that again?
So basically, if parents have to work, are the churches are going to be able to come in and act somewhat as an aid? Will the churches partner with the school district to assist parents who might have to go back to work, and their kids, they may not have anybody to watch their kids?
That's a slippery slope right there, and only because once you start partnerships and relationships outside of school, I can tell you now that most boards don't want to have that liability of having organizations go into someone's home and be responsible for that type of support, and then if something happens, then become liable for it. But there are always going to be things that come up with regards to partnerships, and just depending on how it's structured and set up, and that information is presented to the schools and then turned over to the boards to make a decision as to whether or not they want to move forward with those programs. Like I said, it just goes case by case, and so we're going to be looking for many different opportunities to support our children, especially while they're at home, because we know that they need it, and we know that there are a lot of people who are willing to give their time and energy to make sure that they are receiving the education that they need and the additional supports, whether it be social and emotional, outside of school. So we, as administrators, and I don't mean to really speak for everybody, but that's not a decision that we can really make. It's just something that we can share and bring it to the administration's attention, and then from there they can make decisions as to how they want to move forward with programs and such, like making partnerships with churches to go into homes.
So I'm going to ask this question first to Ms. McGaney Guy, and then all the other principals can address it. So will the substitute teachers, because that is a question that's being posed, will they have some training in the virtual learning on how to present?
Yes, absolutely. And one thing at North Main, we've been very fortunate to have the same group of substitutes. So they will be entitled to the same training that the other staff will have throughout the year.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else want to jump in?
In Atlantic City, our substitutes are outsourced through a company called ESS. So the training that will be provided will be through the company that's outside of the district. But of course, they would definitely be in the building. At this point, there hasn't been a discussion regarding substitutes being involved in the remote aspect of the student's process.
Okay. Go ahead.
In the event a teacher is unable to come in and perform her duties, like she takes an absence, will substitutes be called in to do virtual learning?
If we're remote.
Remote.
If we're remote.
If we're remote.
I would say that kind of depends in cases where the teacher would be absent for a longer period of time. Districts sometimes engage in long-term substitutes who are usually certified in the grade level or in the band or content. And then once a long-term substitute is a part of our building, usually they participate in our professional development. So A long-term substitute teacher it might look a little different than a day-to-day substitute teacher who's coming in just to fulfill the day.
Okay. All right, I got a question. One of them is, what are you doing to make sure that the kids are socially distancing and classroom size rules is coming in? So what is each school doing in preparation for that to make sure each child is socially distancing? And I know you have to wear masks, but just give us, your safety protocols for COVID-19. And we'll start with you again, Ms. Atkins Turner, because you're at the top.
Okay, so at least at the high school, we definitely have the decals that we are going to mark our floors with. And we are very careful with how the teachers are setting up their classroom. There must be some type of separation. We have available hand sanitizers at all the classroom doors. So we've definitely started. We don't know how we're going to do the actual separation in the classroom. But social distancing in the hallways, making sure that they're able to sanitize properly, mandating masks, those things are in place. We just have to worry about the interactions within the actual classrooms.
Okay.
And just to add to that, at the high school level, as you mentioned, the case in Georgia, it's very challenging to practice social distancing at a high school. Dealing with 900 students on one particular day. So although we may try to space them out in the classrooms, ensure that we have at least 6 feet space in between the desks, when there's a transition, you're going to have the interaction, which could be a challenge. But in Atlantic City, we're also going to have the decals on the floors and the arrows throughout the building. We also have hand sanitizer, we have masks available for students. The students' temperature will be checked as they enter the building, et cetera. So of course, I mean, although as an educational institution, learning is the ultimate goal, but health and safety is paramount at this point in all the decisions that we make to ensure that our students are safe upon return.
Okay. Brother
And
Knox?
also put that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. It doesn't matter. Just jump right in. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, within our buildings, we're K to 8, so we're limiting movement. Students aren't gonna be traveling to the art room, they're not gonna be going to the music room. Special teachers will be traveling to the assigned classroom during that time to ensure, so you don't have a bunch of movement within the building. The teachers will be doing more of the traveling.
Okay. One of the things that we've done, I met with my custodial staff and my vice principal and other people in the building. We've gone into each classroom, because all of our classrooms are dimensionally different, to make sure that we were adhering to the 6 feet. And for the most part, if we were not adhering, then things needed to be moved or we were brought out of the classroom. We'll also have safety shields. We're looking to get some shields into the classroom over the desks. That's in the process. We're still waiting for some of those things to come in. But that has been a discussion. I just spoke with our director the other day, because I needed some additional shields for my junior high students. So we're just looking, we have the hand sanitizer. As Ms. Williams said, there will be no movement in the building. It's going to be interesting to see how 6th, 7th, 8th graders remain contained all day long without transition. That's going to be interesting. And within the classroom, seeing how they're going to, because the antics of a middle schooler is to move and socialize. So have them to put them somewhere and tell them they really like be there. My vice principal is going to have a real challenge.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Third floor with them.
Yeah.
So.
Ms. Reverend Burroughs?
I'd say that I'm sure every district has a pandemic team, and the pandemic team and the administrative planning team are probably all looking for the same things, to have standing hand sanitizers, who are going along with the mandates of the state guidelines. And so, like Atlantic City, I'm sure Pleasantville has ordered the PPE that's necessary, not just for students, but for staff, for classrooms, their directional signage that's been purchased. And I think those teams have really thought about the traffic in the building and the seating, and just trying to keep children safe, as well as the adults who serve those children. Because no matter what they say about children not transmitting, we don't, no one really knows. Only God knows. And so we trust God, and we put things into place to protect ourselves.
Okay.
That's, I think, where everyone is.
Ms. McGaney, guy?
Okay, so one of the things I've been meeting with my leadership team, one of the things we looked into is like pre-purposing unused space in the building. So we're looking at opening up the library in a different way because of course students will not be traveling to the library. So we're gonna use that space for classroom space. We're gonna use some outdoor space. With the grace of God, and school starts in September, we are going to use outside space. So I have an outside space. So students are going to be rotating outside to have class also.
Well,
We ordered some canopies. We are going to ask students to bring towels, and we're going to have classroom outside. So I have classrooms mapped out outside on the blacktop and on the front entrance of North Main, asking for a fence to be installed.
we lost you. You just muted yourself. There you go.
Okay, sorry. So we're hoping to utilize outdoors quite a bit during the months of September and October. And we've set up isolation stations, so if a child is suspected to have COVID, we have areas in the building for that. We have schedules for staggering children into the building and exiting the building, because that's when students most likely clutter together. So we're starting all at the same time, but we're staggering how they come into the building, how they exit. Because we know usually when that bell rings to come in, we have massive crowds coming in. So we have different times that they're coming into the building. And we also are setting up, our building is just a square, so we're having one-way traffic. We're never gonna have two-way traffic, so you don't get to see what happened in Georgia. Massive crowds of students in the hall. And then sign out times for bathrooms and different scheduling. So what this is gonna take is a lot of scheduling to make it work. And that's what we're working on at this time.
Okay. Dr. Chapman?
Yes.
I'm looking at the screen where I can look right here.
At the middle school, we have several things in place to try to minimize the social distancing concerns that many schools are having. One of the things is in the mornings when the students get to school, we're going to have them come in separate entrances by grade level, and they're supposed to get temperature checks as well once they come in. Then inside the classroom, based on how the furniture and rooms are configured, the teachers will work to organize their classrooms to keep the kids as far apart as they can possibly. Schedule-wise, we've done some things to try to minimize the traffic in the building and transition times and as such, so that we could limit the amount of times in which students are interacting in the hallways, because that's where they're going to have the most interaction at, and where the opportunity for social distancing is going to be the greatest challenge. Additionally, we've organized the traffic in the building to go one way. Certain stairwells will only be up stairwells, certain stairwells will only be down stairwells. And then it will, when they're passing, only one side will be one way, and then just to keep them from having that overcrowding in the building. And we're continuing to monitor and revise and review different things so that we can do our best to make sure that we are operating as efficiently as possible with the safety guidelines.
Okay. Now, let me just ask this question and jump in, honey. The Dr. Smalls, as well as I think McGinney Guy made mention of temperature taking. One of the things, we are, as we are listening to you, we're also putting our protocols in for return in church when we open back, prayerfully in September. And one of the things when I went to, I had a meeting at one of the casinos just recently, and they had when you come in, they had this computer that takes your temperature in 2 seconds. And so we've ordered those as well for the church, that it's computerized when you come in. And we thought about doing, and we did get some for the handheld, but we wanted to make sure that people could egress in very quickly. And so we decided to get those because no one has to be close to them at all. They can come in, it shows a light whether they can come, green light whether they can pass, or a red light if their temperature is over, which we think is going to be very effective. Are you guys using the handheld, or you have the same type of machine?
We would have, we are in the process of ordering the body scanners.
Right.
So high school level is when the students in the building, they have to swipe in. So that'll just be an extra process for them. They'll go through the scanner first and they'll swipe in. So
Great.
we do have that.
Okay, great. Is that the same for other schools?
We're looking to purchase the computer, but we do have temperatures on hand. I mean, thermometers on hand.
Okay, all right.
In Atlantic City, each of the schools is going to receive a combination of thermometers, the scanners, and the handheld.
Okay. Go ahead, 'cause after this, we've got quite a few questions.
I have 3 questions. So let me ask my questions real quick. The first, I'm special ed. And I'm sure there are a lot of parents
You
who
teach special ed?
I teach special ed. Okay. And I'm sure there are a lot of parents who have special needs students. So what's the plan for the special needs student? Is it hybrid? Is it all day? So that parents can understand.
In Atlantic City, right now, all students are a part of the hybrid model. No one's in school every single day. Right now.
Okay. Pleasantville?
But just to add to that, student parents have the option of choosing to have their children work remotely every day, which there was a link on the district website for parents to complete to notify the district that that's their intention.
Okay.
And with part of the IEPs, that we have to make sure that we put children in a least restrictive environment. So if children are coming to school, then that's all children. So unless the IEP states otherwise, then that's what they will be following.
Okay. All right.
Wait a minute. Just
go
a
ahead.
moment. Anybody else? So the other question I have is, some schools have pre-K 3. What's the plan? How are you going to make sure that they keep their masks on?
That's
on. Because your pre-K 3 kids are coming to school, am I not correct?
correct. Pre-K3 and 4.
And
it's a challenge.
Pre-K 3, pre-K 4, yeah. So what's the plan? Because can they not be curious? So what's the plan?
Bring us back in a couple months, and we'll talk what that look like.
Because I'm sure
We're
the
gonna do
best-
that too. We're gonna
What
take you
did
up on
he
that.
say?
He said, bring them back in a couple of weeks. They'll tell you
I
how to
think-
work with that. So
At
you
least
know.
in that
I think-
classroom, they have 2 adults, so we think
Right.
that's gonna be the most beneficial part of pre-K. They have more than 1 adult in the class, so I think that's gonna be a tremendous help. So we're gonna.
I have my 2-year-old grandson, and we have his mask, and that mask is all over his face. So
We're expecting that,
Right.
but we're also expecting that, just like they learn the other routines in the classroom, that the teachers and the aides in the room are really going to be trying to teach routines and expectations, just like some of the eighth graders might have. We might have the challenge of keeping an eighth grader mask on them,
You know, and
but
that,
just teaching.
yeah, we have the same thing. You know, I was saying earlier, we have the program, the lit program this year, 200 kids, and all of them are outside, and they're all required to wear masks. And these are 14 to 18-year-olds, and it's every day, every time I see them, you know, put your mask on. Why your mask is not on? So it's that over and over and over and over again thing. But we got a few questions we need to ask you. I think you got another question.
I have another question, but I'm going to ask my question before we go off the air. So I'm going to give him an opportunity to finish.
You said all that, you're going to ask the question.
No, go ahead, because this is a very important
Well, ask
question.
the
So,
question.
no, I'm going to ask it last.
Okay. Here we are. And I'm just going to ask a seven. Let me see what it is. Someone is asking, will there be, Kenyatta Glass is asking, will there going to be, will the staff also be required to take the temperature check? Pamela Palmer is asking about fire drills. And the third question is, what steps have we taken to make sure all students who are going to remain on remote learning have proper Chromebooks that work and are equipped with services and after school? And there's a fourth question I'll come back to. All right, you can jump on either one of those questions.
All right, Ms. McGaney guy.
As far as fire drills, we have to continue to do fire drills. So basically, each building administrator has to come up with a plan to have those students social distance. All the buildings have an exit, has a map of the school of where each class goes during the fire drill. So it's a challenge for us to make sure we come up with another plan that those students are social distance during the fire drills, but that's mandated by law, so we have to continue with those.
I just would like to add, you know, I'm sure there are thousands of questions. And because there's so many unanswered questions, after the districts were mandated to submit their restart plan to the state, then a day or two later, the governor, made an announcement that districts may have the option to proceed in a remote-only fashion. And because there's so many unanswered questions, I'm sure the superintendents will have the challenge of deciding what would be in the best interest for all of us. Because when you think about pre-K, when you think about high school, we're dealing with hundreds of students, staff, babies, pre-K students who may not necessarily follow the procedures. But it's gonna be a challenge, and I guess the bigger challenge right now is for the districts across the state to decide what's in the best interest of all of their staff and students. Just recently, I know Jersey City and Elizabeth, a few of the school districts in North Jersey have already opted to proceed in a remote-only fashion, because if we sit here for another hour, I'm sure you'll get another 50 questions if we don't have all the answers. So we're doing the best that we can, and for that reason, I mean, we don't want to sacrifice anyone's life in this matter, but I think within the next few days, we may see more districts opting to proceed in a remote-only fashion. I mean, we just don't know, because we don't have all the answers until we return, and we just have to make adjustments. But the good thing is we do have a plan, and then after everyone returns, we'll decide what further adjustments that we have to make to keep everyone safe.
Okay. Anyone else want to jump in?
I just want to add that, just to piggyback, that school districts are working really, really hard around the clock, superintendents, just to make sure that, like Dr. Small said, staff and students remain safe throughout this process, and it's ever changing. We have tons and tons of questions ourselves when we get into meetings. You say one thing, then it brings up another issue, and then we're trying to troubleshoot another issue. So everyone is just working really hard, and we, as administrators, just want everyone, our church members, families, students, to know that we have their best interests at heart, and that we are trying our best to make everything work and our kids to receive a quality education and have all the materials, the devices that they need. So there is a plan, and we're working really, really hard.
Okay, we're going to ask my wife to, wait a minute. Hold up, sister. We're going to ask my wife to give her closing question, but then we want to first thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on. It has been, as so many people have commented, it's been so informative. And you know, I'm so proud of you guys because you guys are really showing your professionalism. And if anybody's up to the task of dealing with this new norm, it's you guys. And we really want to thank you. And we want to say we really appreciate you and appreciate your gifting, your talents, and your experience. And we know that you guys are going to really make it. You know, we feel safe in sending our kids into your hands. We're going to ask after my wife. After you answer this question, my wife has for you.
For all.
We're going to give you. It's for everybody.
It's for everybody.
Okay. We hope. Okay. We're going to ask you to give a final comment to second and say hello and whatever else you want to say finally. And we want to thank all the Second Baptists for tuning in. And, you know, we really try to make these, we want to check on the members, but we also try to be informative and help prepare them. And this has been a great venue to help members get prepared and be informed of what's going on and what they need to do in the community. So, Sister Days, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, so school starts in a couple of weeks. So since you are all administrators, do you feel your building is ready for the kids to come in? As well as your staff?
Everybody,
That's everybody. I want a response from everybody. Do you feel your building is ready for your students and staff to come in?
Okay.
Starting at the top, are we going
Well,
around?
we go at the
we're going to
bottom.
start,
We can start at the bottom.
Let's start with Dr. Chapman.
Mr. Gainey, guys on.
Okay, so Mrs. Days, so is the building ready? No, but in 3 weeks, we have a lot of work to get done because as Pleasantville knows, North Main is getting a new HVAC system, which will help out with this situation. And those contractors are there day in and day out trying to get our building ready. So it is not ready because it was under construction for all summer long. And I've been displaced at another school. So honestly saying, the community knows North Main is not ready yet.
Okay.
Dr. Chapman?
Well,
Oh,
you want to go? You can go.
Nobody wants to go. Anybody can go. Just,
I'll just answer. We're at the high school. We're also under construction. We've renovated our cafeteria. We've also renovated the main entrance where the security booth is. But you know, we're doing the best that we can to ensure that we have what we need in place to make sure everyone's safe. I mean, we're also waiting for supplies and materials to come in. So at this moment, do we have everything that we need? Absolutely not. But as principals, it is our responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being of all staff members upon return. So at that point, you know, we work around the clock prior to opening day. Some of us don't sleep because there's still things that we think of. So we have to beg, borrow, and steal from another district. If I have to call Sbc McGaney guy. You know, we're going to do what it takes to ensure that our building is ready if we're waiting for supplies. But we just feel confident, and we just have to be a team, and we're working together to ensure that we have what we need to start the school year.
I'll say this, that I believe this with all my heart, that our superintendent has committed himself to ensuring our safety and is in constant contact with us through meetings that are 2 a week when necessary, sometimes more. And the lines of communication have remained open, that if there was a time when we determined that we were not ready as a district and as schools, that he would, my confidence is in that he would make a decision that was for our benefit. I will say this, that if you rode by Dr. King Complex, you know we're getting a new entryway. So no, but I can say usually at this point, it always feels like we're not ready. but on game day, we're ready. And all of us, I believe I can speak for everybody on this line as administrators, we answer to a much higher power and we get done what we need to get done. And to have the support of the superintendent is paramount, especially for me.
I'd like to say, at the high school, I'm very satisfied at this point with the cleanliness of the building. Anyone who's worked in Pleasantville, over the years know that mold has been a recurring issue in just about every building. So in terms of, there's no mold. Every year we have, at the beginning of school, a couple of classrooms closed down due to mold. We don't have that this year. At this point, we don't have any issues with faulty ventilations and those things that could actually, aggravate COVID. So if we had to bring students in today and tomorrow, I would be confident that they would be safe in terms of transmission being low in the building. And I'm saying that compared to our readiness in previous years. We've never really had our building this clean this early, because in previous years, we're working, like, my colleagues have said, up to the last minute, and even bringing maintenance and custodians from other buildings just to get the building open on time.
Great.
So I'm confident that our building is clean, and it's sanitized enough to receive students if we were to open today or tomorrow.
I just want to say also, on your, same thing you're saying, our building is basically ready. We're waiting for some very critical things to come in. To jump on what Reverend Burrows was saying, I'm confident, and one of the things our superintendent has continuously told us, if for any reason, if we are not ready, it is not, if we don't have all of this, if for any reason we're not totally ready, then he'll make a decision and our safety comes before anything. So he is really, that has made me comfortable, okay? And he definitely has our back with that, and he's willing to fight for us. That's another thing for that. So that has been the blessing in that. But my building's always clean. I always have anyway, we don't have we never have a cleanliness problem. I just want a safe building. So we're just looking to get the building safe.
Okay. Who we missed? We missed Dr. Chapman, and who else? Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. But I would just say, ultimately, there's still work to be done. And we are working every day diligently to get ourselves prepared for the opening of school. As you know, there's a checklist that has to be completed. We have to make sure that everything is in place. Some things have been ordered and we're waiting for them to come in. And so once all of that's in place, and typically around this time of year, every year, the question comes up and it gets into the 9th hour, and when it's time for those kids to step foot in the building, day one, we're ready for them. And I don't see why that would be any different this year.
Okay. 2 quick questions. I got to ask this. One is from my other daughter, Liz Vasquez. Barnes. She wants to know if you find it now.
Is there a plan for teachers?
Or is there a plan for teachers who have children in school and they have to be in school as well, and
the kids will be at home.
And their kids will be at home. So what's the plan? What kind of consideration you've given for that? Anybody?
Well, again, that's not something personally we can consider, but if there are any hardships that, present a challenge to our teachers, we just ask that they notify the building administrators, which we would share that information with the district to, find the best solution due to the circumstances.
Okay. And what about busing? And how, in terms of what's the plan for kids who have to ride a bus?
Well, there are also guidelines for busing for transportation. There are CDC guidelines that the district has to follow for busing. That is a whole nother planning team, especially with the high school. I know Dr. Small's experience, has a lot going on with the busing situation, but there are guidelines for the buses that we have to follow, that the district is definitely taking into consideration.
Great. Well, we'll give every one of you a chance. We've still got more, so many more questions. We're not going to be getting to them. And let me apologize. We won't be able to get to all the
Bring
questions.
them back.
We won't get all the questions tonight. But as you said, if y'all were here 50 years, y'all probably have all kind of questions because you don't have answers. So, but you have done a phenomenal job. Everyone.
Thank you.
Can everyone just give a parting word to Second Baptist? And because we miss all of you, seeing all of you. So we'll, and maybe whatever tip you want to give for parents this year. I mean, coming into the school year, we'd like to hear from everyone. And we'll start with Dr. Chapman again for the first time.
Okay. Again, good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thankful for the opportunity to be able to share some information with you. What I will say is, while you may still have questions and will continue to have questions, just make sure that you open up that line of communication with your child or your children's schools. Make sure that you check out or that you're registered for the communication lines that they have put in place, whether it be some type of telephone service like Remind, or whether it be social media, a school's webpage. Check and continue to monitor those places, because information is continuously being placed on there and updated as we get that information in. And so a lot of questions that you may have, there may be answers to those already. And what I will say is start that process of getting your children up early now. We know they've been sleeping in and resting well. So we don't want them to get uncomfortable with being asleep till 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. So start getting up early and establishing those routines as soon as possible. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. McGaney guy?
One thing I would have to say for the elementary parents and teachers, one thing that we do in elementary schools, we teach students how to share. Now we need to undo that, because at this time, they're not going to be able to share their crayons, share their pencils, share their books. So if I have any parents out there that start working on that now, we will not be able to share, and that's all that little kids love to do. And work on personal hygiene. When they're going to the bathroom, teaching them how to use a paper towel to touch those faucets and those handles. So work on that personal hygiene so we can keep our students in school and to slow the spread. Thank you.
Mr. Dox?
I want to say to all of our students that we are doing everything to make it safe. Parents, particularly, I've had parents call me and text me. My door is open. If you have any questions, anything I can assist you with, starting tomorrow, I will be in the office all day tomorrow, starting tomorrow morning, and I'll be more than happy to assist in any way I can. And I want you to understand quickly, and I'm saying this passionately, I treat your children like they were my own. Not only maybe not my own children, but my own grandchildren. So that's the kind of perspective that I have in terms of keeping them safe while they're under my care. Thank you.
Reverend Burrows?
Well, we're doing all that we can to get prepared. I would say that, like all the rest of the administrators, helping our children to become, get back to their routines of school. But, you know, this is a praying time, and it's time for us to pray for our children, for our school systems, and as they come and they go, and to teach our children to be wise about things. And I'm grateful that we come from a household of faith that honors prayer, and so I'm grateful for that. And so people should just keep praying for us as we, you know, pray for those that we have charge over.
Nicole?
Yes, I would just like to say, Pastor, thank you for this platform. I feel like we get to help out the members and the listeners, the viewers, to give them different, just a view of what's going on the other side. So they understand that we're really, we're working hard for them and their children. And a major thing that I wanted to say is to the parents, this was a turn. It happened so quickly. We thank you for being the other teacher. Some parents were stressed out between work and you have to help your children learn, but we are, we're with you. We just hope that you continue, to support us, to support the process. And if you have questions, just to ask and to just keep education at the forefront. It's very important, and we want students to move on. We understand that it's hard. It's hard for everyone. And again, my thing is parents, we see you, we hear you, and we thank you for all your hard work that you've done so far during this process. And to our superintendents, they're working hard. We thank them as well for just keeping us and having our backs at all times.
Thank you. Quetta?
I just have to say, Pastor and First Lady Days, thank you for the invitation. I was looking forward to attending the service this morning because I definitely need to sit under the word at this time. But I'm just going to say to the parents who are out there of Atlantic City High School, please be patient with us. We are dealing with 1,800 students. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to contact the teacher, contact administrators, contact the counselors, contact your vice principals. And we're doing everything that we can to ensure that we are responsive to your needs. So, this is a new normal. This is probably the first time in our history in which we do not have a blueprint. Marty always says, if there was a hurricane, we had a blueprint for that. If there was a nor'easter, we have a blueprint for that. So this is probably the first time that I can remember, even going back to when I was a student, in which there's a pandemic that exists, in which we still are responsible for ensuring the safety and welfare of our staff and students, but we really don't have control over it. We really don't have control over it. But what we're going to do is just institute and ensure that we have all the procedures in place to minimize the cases and to ensure that our students are also receiving a quality education during the process.
Thank you so much.
Pastor and Sister Days, I would like to thank you for having me as well. One of the things I would like to see is parents just taking advantage of the resources that are offered. One of the things that is made clear through Governor Murphy is he doesn't want to see a digital divide. So we may end up going totally virtual. So parents need to make sure that they have access to hotspots, free, and there's free Wi-Fi. There's a whole bunch of community-based services that they can take advantage of. So I would like parents to not be so overtaken and overwhelmed by remote learning. Make sure that your child has a Chromebook or a laptop. Make sure they have Wi-Fi, hotspot, those things that they need to make sure that they're not lagging behind in their education. And also, as a parent, you may feel overwhelmed. Make sure that you're taking advantage of the many community resources that are offered, as well as food. So there's a whole bunch of things that are available in the community. There's no need for us to fail in what we're doing. So I would just advise all parents to please take advantage of all the resources that you can to make sure that even if we go totally virtual, your child will not fall behind in their learning and their, I guess, their socialization. So just take advantage of everything that's available to you.
Thank you all for coming on today, and we thank you for your time and your expertise. It has been tremendous, and I think everyone who's listened tonight have been helped. And that's why you need to share it and go back and listen to this for all those parents that didn't, because you're not going to get this kind of information anywhere else with the magnitude and with the diverse expertise that you have. And we thank you so much.
Thank you.
Reverend Burroughs, we're going to be praying for every last one of you. Every one we're going to be praying for you guys. And we know and we pray for success because we don't want any of our kids to be left behind. And we know, and we're praying for your safety as well as our children's safety and all of the staff and faculty safety. And we're praying for Barry as well, for our superintendent, for, you know, he's doing a great job. We thank you so much. Second Baptist, we love you. We thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you next Sunday at Surf Stadium. God bless you, everyone, and we'll look to see you Wednesday night. Thank y'all so much for coming
Good
on.
night.
Good night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Hi, Kevin.
Bye.
Good night.
You
Thank
had to
you.
call his name, didn't you? You had to call Kevin's name.
I had to call.
God bless everyone. Thank you, Second
Bye-bye.
Baptist.
Good night.